Giving all glory and honor and praise to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah Ba'ashem, Makar Kadash. Double honor to the elder apostles of Great Millstone, who rule well, teaching us 100% truth. Shalom to the hopeful elect, beginning with 144,000, and the rest of the men, women, and children that are part of the hopeful elect. I'm your brother Magan Shalamar. Title of this short video is Babylon has been a golden cup in the Lord's hand. He's making the whole world drunken, and now all the nations are mad with this horse. So we're gonna get right into it. It's a short video just showing you every day, every second that this beast, the beast system, which consists of NATO and the EU, makes up part of the beast system, which is consists of European governments. They are becoming angry at Donald Trump, at the whore America, because Donald Trump is trying to take over Greenland. So we're gonna let this play. Fair use, fair use. This is not for monetary gain, but for educational purpose only. Fair use.
The battle for Greenland. President Donald Trump using the power of tariffs to try and get his way. He says on February 1st, he will impose 10% tariffs on NATO allies that have sent those military forces into Greenland. He plans to increase those tariffs to 25% on June 1st and keep them in place until the U.S. reaches a deal for Greenland. In fact, listen to this. This is UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer asked if he thinks the U.S. will resort to military action, which the president has floated as a possibility in order to get what it wants.
I don't, actually. I think that this can be resolved and should be resolved through calm discussion, but with the application of the principles and values that I've set out in terms of who decides the future of Greenland, and making clear that the use of tariffs in this way is completely wrong.
Completely wrong, he says. Let's go live to CBS News White House reporter Olivia Rinaldi. She is at Mar-a-Lago. So, Olivia, you heard it there. One of many European leaders on tariffs and what the president says he will use and even escalate by June. So how does the administration defend tariffs on not only our trading partners, but people who are members of the NATO alliance?
Yeah, well, Reed, they were very upset this weekend, all of those European allies, once they saw President Trump's Truth Social post where he said if they don't help him in the acquisition of Greenland, he's going to put that 10% tariff on them starting on February 1st. The Trump administration says that this is relevant, that they need to do this because the president is ramping up his goal of acquiring Greenland. He says they need it for security purposes. Even in a separate Truth Social post, he said because of the Golden Dome, that's what he's linking this to. Because of the Golden Dome and the offensive and defensive weapons as a part of that, it is important for the U.S. to acquire Greenland. He said it's a highly complex system that can only work at its maximum potential and efficiency because of the angles and bounds if the land of Greenland is included. So that's why the Trump administration is saying this is necessary, that potentially ruining relationships with NATO allies and countries that the U.S. has long-standing relationships with, like the United Kingdom, is necessary because they believe the acquisition of Greenland is so important for the U.S.
So as we take a temperature on those relationships with those NATO nations, this was also interesting to me. The president sent a letter and then a text message to Norway's prime minister in which he essentially tied Greenland to him not winning the Nobel Peace Prize. We understand that that was not only sent in those channels, but in other channels so that the message could be crystal clear to other nations. What do you know?
Oh, yeah. Well, Reed, if it's any indication how upset the Europeans were, the Prime Minister of Norway shared this text message with the world that the president sent to him, where President Trump said that considering your country decided not to give me the Nobel Peace Prize for having stopped 8 wars, plus I no longer feel an obligation to think purely of peace and can now think about what's good and prosperous for the United States of America. We also know, as you mentioned in that question, that the president sent this text message to the Prime Minister of Norway, but then this was spread through other national security channels to let other European allies know that the president is serious about the acquisition of Greenland from Denmark, and that he also believes that because he was not given the Nobel Peace Prize, that peace is not something he's putting as quite important anymore and instead is willing to pursue this venture. He also added at the end of that statement that the world is not secure unless we have complete and total control of Greenland. And as you can imagine, this has a pronounced impact on European allies. President Trump tomorrow is going to head to Davos, Switzerland, where he's actually going to see some of these European allies and leaders in person. And Reed, I suspect he will be feeling their anger later this week.
Olivia Rinaldi coming to us live from Florida. Thank you so much.
Why don't the Japanese?
So you see Trump just a little sniffing little bitch because they didn't vote him in for the Nobel Peace Prize. You know, he want to take his toy back. He don't want to play no more, you know. And but he's talking about peace. He's taking away the peace now because they didn't give him the Nobel Peace Prize. Couldn't give him peace anyway. Revelation 6:4, saying that the red horse, and a man sat upon the red horse, was to take peace from this earth. And we know that horse represents power, and the red represents Esau, Edom, in his rulership, power on this earth. He come to take peace away from this earth. There is no peace. There's nothing but killing, destruction, ever since he's been in rulership. So he only doing what the Lord has allowed him to do, and what the Lord has ordained him to do. That's why, let's get this. Jeremiah 51 verse 7, it says, Babylon hath been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand. You see? So in all his wickedness, it's still being controlled by Yahweh. So this devil can't do anything but do what he was created to do, which is being the wicked on this earth. So he can't be peaceful. He can't bring peace because he's made him a vessel fitted for destruction. He made him crooked. You know, he's been made crooked. How can a man straighten him? Straighten him out what the Lord has made crooked. He's a golden cup in Yahweh's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore, the nations are mad. And that's what you're seeing, that these nations that are part of the EU and NATO are becoming angry with this, with America. They're becoming mad with America, this whore. You realize that the horse sits on the back of that beast. And the EU is the European Union, and the NATO is the North Atlantic Treaty. I got a blank. North Atlantic Treaty Organization. And so you got Denmark, France, the Netherlands, Germany, Belgium, all those are a part of the EU, right? And he said he's going to increase a 25% tariff on them by a certain date if they don't attempt to help him get the Greenland. And then you got Belgium, Denmark, France, Italy, Netherlands, Germany again, Norway, England, Germany. They're part of also the NATO. So you got all these countries, and most of them are part of the NATO and the EU. These are the countries or United States allies that are about to be taxed very highly coming from Trump. And this is why you're starting to see these prophecies flying off the table. The nations have drunken of her wine, meaning they have gotten rich off America through her through her trade and going, and also taking upon America philosophies, her religions, her way of doing businesses, her laws, her legislations, her democracy, even about it. I just take a step forward in the architects. You go to Japan, you go to all these different countries, and you see all the ones that trade with America. you go to their country, their architects are just like America. They dress like America. They take on America way of thinking that the LGBTQ is okay. You know, it's okay to love after another man loving a man, a woman loving a woman. It's okay over there. You know, all these philosophies that they've taken over, but now they've started to become mad. You know, America is starting to make them mad, and that's how you're starting to see that when Yahweh Shah said, "A house divided cannot stand together. It cannot stand. Satan divided against Satan." And you seeing that Satan is starting to divide against each other. These European countries, Esau, Edom, are starting to fall. Verse 51, chapter 51, verse 8. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take a balm for her pain, if so be she may be healed. Meaning, you know, you can cry for her and do all what you can because she's definitely falling. The United States is falling. This place, America, is falling for destruction. It's going to be soon put on fire. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go, everyone, into our own country, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and it lifted up even to the skies. Right? Because, you know, you have the prophets out here that's been, you know, saying these truths on the highways and byways since 1969. Now it's in the truth of Great Millstone. If America listen, they can be healed. But guess what? It's not meant for America to get it. America is destined to burn. America is destined to be destroyed. All the ones that came here for trade, they're going to start fleeing back to their country. You're going to start seeing the Chinese starting to leave. The businesses are starting to leave. You know, they seeing the downfall of America. It says, Yahweh have brought forth our righteousness. Come and let us declare in Zion the work of Yahweh our power. Make bright the arrows, gather the shields. Yahweh have raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes. And that's talking about when that World War III hits, after the mark of the beast come out. We know that to be the RFID chip. Once that takes place, once this place, the monetary system crashes, and then the RFID chip be pushed on the whole entire world, everyone, small and great, rich or poor, free or bond, you have to take that chip in their right hand, a physical chip, in order to buy or sell, or you're not going to be able to be a part of the society. Once that takes place, then boom, we're going right into World War III, and that's what you're going to see the Medes come over, which is the Russians. You know, because the Russians are in that land. So the spirit of the kings of the Medes, for his devices against Babylon to destroy it, because it's the vengeance of Yahweh, the vengeance of his temple. See that? Who's God's temple is us, Israel, for the controversy of Zion. So, you know, this place is written, word of against America is written all in the Bible, Old Testament and New Testament. Set up the standard upon the walls of Babylon, make the watch strong, set up the watchmen, prepare the ambushes, for Yahweh hath both devised and done that which he spake against the inhabitants of Babylon. You see that? This place is being prepared to be ambushed, man. This place is already, Salakia. You're already seeing it unfold. The ambush is already set. The trap is already set. And America is walking right into it. This dummy, Nero, Donald Trump, is pissing off his own allies. And the prophets is out here on the highways and byways saying exactly what is going to happen. And he's walking right into the trap, right into the ambush. It says, O thou that dwellest upon many nations, many people, nations and tongues, abound in treasures, thine end is come. And the measures of thy covenant. So all this covenant that you take in land and all this oil and people's countries and calling yourselves after their name, you know, your time is at the end. It's coming to an end. It's coming to a stop. It said, because Yahweh of hosts has sworn by himself, saying, surely I will fill thee with men as with caterpillars, and they shall fill up a shout against thee. Right, because this place is going to be destroyed. This place is just going to become a desert. It's going to be overran by Russia and his allies, and by and America's old allies are going to be bombing the hell out of America, man. This place is going to be left a desert filled with nothing but wild beasts. So with that, I pray that you was edified, giving all glory and honor and praise to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shah, by Hashem Makar Kadash. Double honor to the elder apostles of Great Millstone, rule well. Shalom.